Hi, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Smarter Campus Podcast. I'm Jack Kinzler, and today I'm excited to chat with a truly inspiring guest, Jack Quinlan. Jack Quinlan is a generative AI education student partner and council member here at Boodlebox, studying software engineering and neuroscience at the University of Sydney in Australia. Beyond his technical work, Jack is passionate about bridging the gap between people and AI, helping others understand the benefit from the technology in really some pretty meaningful ways. So today we'll dive into the journey of AI in education, his experience kind of as a leader in the space, and some unique insights on students and educators can be responsibly leverage AI together. So again, today we are changing education one conversation at a time. Jack, thank you so much for being with us today. If you could just introduce yourself to everyone listening.
Thank you for the introduction. That was awesome. So I'm Jack. I've been playing around with generative AI basically since it started. I can remember the first time I was at a party with a few of my friends and someone came up to me, went, have you seen this? I went, no. They showed me, and ever since then, I've just been playing around with it, and it's been a lot of fun. Really, really interesting technology.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I guess you kind of started it off, but I'd kind of like to hear your journey of how, AI, first you found AI, and then like how that kind of leaked into your education, and then like how you got to where you are today, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It's really interesting. Actually, I put it the start of my AI journey just before ChatGPT and everything came out. I was in high school, and one of the things I always wanted to start was like an inventors club sort of thing. So I started this group of students at my old high school where we got 6 grand in funding, and it was basically build whatever you want, like use whoever you can, reach out, find people, build anything you can. And you have these kids in like year 8 and 9 building these awesome systems, like a renewable energy playground, for example, where
Yeah.
like you spin a wheel and something generates electricity.
Oh yeah.
Really, really cool stuff. And yeah, unfortunately I had to drop all that to head off to uni. But then just as I like got into uni, I started playing around with Chat GPT, and then later on moved on to Gemini and a few others. But yeah, I got pulled up to do a speech on generative AI just for a mentoring program. And then from then on, I just got pulled up for more and more panels, speeches, and eventually I was talking to the University Senate at Sydney. So bit of a jump from just chatting to random strangers to the top of the university. Then next thing you know, I was going around chatting to people at Adobe and educators around the world, other universities. And the big point I was trying to sell for a lot of these different talks was, look, it opens up a world of opportunity for people who don't understand things to the depth they need to. For example, students like this Inventors Club thing, look, we had no idea what we were doing at all.
Yeah.
So, building these renewable systems and stuff, we had absolutely no idea about the physics. We tried to get our physics teacher involved. But with AI, I really think these sort of things like Inventors Club are going to pop up everywhere, because all of a sudden, like, you see these 10-year-old kids programming entire applications just with generative AI. And I think it's a massive opportunity for us to not only increase productivity, but increase our learning and how quickly we can do things. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's great, Jack. It's insane. I mean, it is pretty funny though, like how once you become kind of like an expert, right? Like you're an expert, and then everyone wants to talk to you about it, which is really interesting. But like, so a lot of the viewers here, like listening, are from the US, and like I think a lot of people are curious, like, how did other school systems in other parts of the world kind of react to the AI wave, I guess? Like, yeah.
Yeah, no. I was right there as it was sort of coming in. So I'd say at the University of Sydney, I was one of the first like students to sort of speak about it.
Yeah.
And so I got to see there's like a almost a 5 stages of grief sort of thing that happens. And I
Yeah.
love watching it. Like the first stage is denial, like it's not going to do anything, it's not going to do it. And then eventually you move on, and we're up to point of acceptance now. But as it was coming in, we were all in online education when it first started. So
Okay.
we were still doing tests and Zoom lectures and all that. And it was interesting to see University of Sydney was really good. They jumped on building a education innovation team to go, look, this is likely going to be staying. So let's try and integrate it as fast as possible. And look, across the universities, a lot of the questions were framed as like, how are we going to fit students into an AI world instead of how are we going to fit like AI into the students' world, which
Yeah.
there was a lot of like negativity in the framing of all these questions. And look, I think weirdly from what I've heard from other countries, it's been very similar all around. Like it was just a lot of concern in the beginning, but I think we're at a really nice point of everyone's kind of realized it's going to stay, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I love the 5 stages of grief. I think you just came up with the name of the podcast that we're gonna throw on this one. That's pretty good. I haven't heard anyone say that. So like a kind of question about like how would you say like you use AI like to learn like at school? Like what's your because I know you're a big coder and I know you use it for like coding and stuff, of course, but like do you use it to like explain coding or like how do you use it, I would say?
yeah, I'd say there are three big ways I use it. Coding's a big one, but in coding, I'm not necessarily using it to generate lots of code. It's more when I do generate code, I use it a lot to go back and document it for me and like look back. Have I considered certain things? Even scaffolding debugging techniques. Like one thing I do is I go, look, I know there's an error in here somewhere, but what I want you to do is give me a process I can use to eliminate, like, to test everything I need to. And that's been really good because I've been able to work out what sort of common patterns there are to my mistakes. And also chucking in error messages. Oh, it's such a save. If anyone's seen a programming message before, an error message, they can be so long and so confusing. But chucking them into ChatGPT or any other generative AI model, it just summarizes it, gives you exactly where you need to go, and oh, it's great. But
Yeah, I mean,
go for it.
continue. No, you continue for sure.
Easy. The big one I'd say though is like it's like a personal tutor, to be honest. It's one thing I've been using since the beginning, which I sort of pioneered here, was a sort of Feynman technique thing. So I created a bot that pretends to be a 5-year-old sort of, and you give it any concept, anything, and you explain it in your best explanation possible, then it will ask questions like a 5-year-old, going like, "What's this? What's that?" Like, if you're explaining atoms, it'll be like, "Is there anything smaller than an atom?" And you're like, "Yes," and then you explain small, and they go, "Anything smaller than that? Anything smaller than that?" It's like chatting with a 5-year-old kid that understands logic to an extent. Hope maybe no 5-year-old does. I don't know. There's a few freaks out there.
Wow, wow, that's super cool. So the bot, okay, explain the bot in depth. I think
Yeah,
people
yeah,
are going
for
to be
sure.
really interested in this.
So let's pick a concept to start with, maybe.
Okay, let's a for loop. No, 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 no. A for loop's
Well,
tough. Let's think of something that's like interesting. Let's
we could
think.
be here all
Yeah,
day.
I know what like I'm trying to think of
one
something
one
I know
interesting
a lot
tool.
about that I could answer questions to a 5-year-old. Let's I don't know. You come up with something. You're the one that built this.
Oh, this is tough. You put me on
Yeah, it's
no,
okay.
no. We'll do something like, say, even variables in coding, like
Yeah, okay.
especially for like people in the younger years, a variable is really, really hard to understand because suddenly like X can equal X plus one, which people go,
Yes.
what in the world is happening there? So you'd go in and say, I'm trying to learn variables. Here's my explanation of it. And let's explain it really terribly. Like a variable is something that holds another value or something. Then
Okay.
look, that's not very useful to your understanding. So you got this, you ask the bot, give it that explanation, and it'll go, that doesn't make sense. Or it'll go,
Okay.
what do you mean by store? And then you go, okay, so store, I mean, like you have a place that holds the value. It's like, yeah, what do you mean value? And you go, oh, okay, so like, and what do you mean a place? So you go, okay, so a variable is like a box almost. So a box that you can put toys in and stuff, and then you can take the toys out when you need them. So you start explaining it in new ways. It starts looking at these analogies and going, oh, like, is that entirely accurate? Is that, and it starts getting you to think almost in a first principles way of why, breaking it down further and further. And the only thing I haven't got with this bot, which I think is kind of not important at all, is it doesn't stop asking why at any point. It keeps going and going. So at some point you're getting to the level where, like PhD theoretical physicists are going, okay, even that's too far.
Yeah.
You just don't know where to stop. But
Wow,
yeah.
I love that. That's super cool. So it's funny because I haven't heard someone talk about that too often until literally yesterday, which is, I don't know, there's no way it was correlated with this, but like yesterday I saw someone say like the number one use case of AI is that you should teach it things. So yeah, I'm definitely going to tag him in the post we do. Dr. Howard Aldridge, that's his name. He's a retired University of Carolina, North Carolina, like Chapel Hill, UNC, the good basketball team. He told me about this yesterday. He was like, I think the best use case is like teaching it. And he found it from somewhere else, but like it's just a coincidence. So what you're saying is that AI can like help you think deeper. It's not even there necessarily to like teach you things. It's there to like ask you questions to help you understand how to understand something better. Because we all know that like you learn something better when you teach something better. Yeah, wow. Okay, another question. We're kind of running up on the end of the time here. I'd be really curious to see. This is my favorite one to ask people. What is your favorite AI use case that isn't in education? Like I use it for cooking all the time.
I have a lot.
Okay.
Like,
Okay, let's
I've gotten stuff from like cooking, which if anyone knows me, I'm a horrendous cook. So, so I use that every now and then. Um, Honestly, one of my favorite ones to go with is probably like I write a bit of poetry and stuff.
Yeah.
So I like testing it with all these creative fields. And I get like, I write it out, go, oh, it's pretty good, pretty good. Throw it in. And I just love being really annoyed at the different structures and stances it throws back. Like I'll chuck in a poem and I'll chuck it back and I went, that's exactly what I was trying to say. But
Yeah.
they use
I
these
wanted to
amazing
say it.
tangents sometimes. Yeah. And especially if you chuck in your own poets that you really like. Like
Yeah.
I really like Charles Bukowski and like I do like a bit of T.S. Eliot. So I'll throw in like all these different people and it spits out similarly to how they write. And I'm like, oh
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's really
maybe
cool.
art's not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's good
well,
fun.
last
How about
last
you? What's your
question.
use case?
Oh, mine. My favorite thing to do 100% is since ChatGPT came out on your phone, uh so like a huge cook. I love cooking. And my favorite thing to do is like I take a picture of my fridge, like at the end of the week when I'm kind of like running out of
Yeah,
like I cooked a few meals that I plan to cook and now I kind of just have like ingredients. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
I'll be like give me four completely different recipes. You know what I mean? I take a picture of the fridge and it's like pretty crazy cool, like what it kind of comes up with. And I'm like, it hasn't started yet, but I want to make like a cookbook with like all of the things that ChatGPT is like told me about. But I mean, it's just like that's one thing I think people don't kind of often talk about. It's like it's just good. It's B minus. That's what France Wong, CEO of Boodlebox, is what he always says, is that it's like it's B minus at everything. And it's like some things I will never be B minus level at. And it's nice to have something that's like there to help you with. And it's just like there. And like the thing is, it's like, everyone's so tense about this subject all the time, Jack. And I feel like you've done a really good job in this. This is a great podcast. No script. I want to let everyone know no questions
yeah.
were sent to Jack. Nothing was prepped. But like what happened is like it's just casual and it's here to help. And it's like it's not an angry thing. It's not should I mean it can be stressful, but it shouldn't be like this burden on people's shoulders. But last question.
But
Someone just dipping their toes into the water of AI, teacher, student, what's like one kind of like piece of advice you have for someone just starting?
oh, okay. Um, the number one thing like I always recommend to people, just in general, actually before that, maybe know what AI is to an extent. Like you don't have to know how it works or anything. Like even I'm like confused about how any like half of it works. But like autocorrect is an AI as well. But like people go, are you stressed about AI? And like, are you stressed about autocorrect or are you stressed about like generative AI models? So know that sort of distinction, those different types of AIs. But if we're focusing on just like the large language models and the chat AIs, it's definitely play as much as you can with it. Like think you can interact with these technologies in an infinite number of ways. Like in the same way, when we have a conversation, it could end up anywhere. And playing with the technologies yourselves, just asking it questions, doing things you go, oh, look, it'd be stupid if I asked the person this, but like, let's go ahead and do it. And honestly, you come out with some weird outcomes. Like the Feynman technique thing where you're teaching the bots so you can learn yourself. I was just playing around with that and yeah, couldn't find that anywhere. That was just playing around, doing things with it. Doing the taking a photo of a fridge. I've always wanted to try that. Like,
It's crazy. It works like
I'm gonna
really
try
well, and
it straight after this. You watch.
it's pretty funny like
Watch.
what it comes up with. And one thing I want to say is we are gonna have to get that 5-year-old bot in Boodlebox because that's super cool. And I
I
know a
think we
lot of
will.
people think that's cool. Yeah, but okay. Jack Quinlan, everybody. I know there's hundreds of thousands of people listening to this, but we are all so excited that you were here. This is one of my favorite ones I've done yet. It's been educational for me as well as I think the people that are listening. So thank you so much. Yeah, talk to you soon, Jack. And thank you everyone for listening to Smarter Campus Podcast. We'll be back next week. Better than ever as always. Thank you guys so much for listening.